Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us. Thank you so much for being here with us today for this Guesty virtual meetup, Driving Success with Dynamic Pricing. So my name is Celine Antine. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I'm a customer success team leader at Guesty, which is the industry's leading short-term rental property management platform. And here with me today, we have some great people. So meet our panelists. Please welcome Dana Hoffman. Dana is our senior product manager at Guesty. She's been working tirelessly to make Guesty dynamic pricing tool what it is today. Thank you, Dana, for being here with us. We have Jeff Nicius. Jeff is our price optimizer program manager. He's actually one of the first users to use Guesty price optimizer. And he loved it so much that he decided to join us and help it make it even better. Last but not least, we have Jared Higginbotham. Jared is the CEO of Teal Hosting, which is a rental company based out of Florida. So thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing your knowledge. Okay, so in today's virtual meetup, I will begin by quickly introducing Guesty for those of you who may not know us already. I will then hand it over to you, Dana, to talk a little bit about revenue management and dynamic pricing. And after that, Jeff will take us on a live demo to explore the ins and outs of Guesty's price optimizer product, followed by Jared, who will give us some insights into his revenue management strategy and show us how price optimizer fits into that picture. And finally, we will have some time to discuss your questions. So reminder, please share those questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. All right, so before we get started, I just wanted to tell you a little words about who we are and what we do. So at Guesty, we aim to provide short-term rental, host, and property management companies with the tools they need to operate more efficiently, bring in more bookings, and ultimately make more money and grow. So to do this, we have two unique offerings. We have Guesty for Host and Guesty for Pros. And each of these two platforms is tailored to different types of rental managers who work with properties ranging from personal owned properties all the way up to enterprise property management companies and beyond. So both of these platforms are powered by our 200 plus R&D team. So you can be sure that all of our users are provided with the most innovative and cutting edge solutions available on the market. So no matter how many properties you have or what your goals are, or whether you're just getting started or you're already a full-time professional property manager, within Guesty, we have a solution that is perfectly suited for you and your needs. And just a few more numbers for you to be aware of. At Guesty, we speak to hundreds of hosts and property managers like you on a daily basis. So we really get to the core of what property managers of all sizes and all geos need to be successful with their revenue management strategies. And with that being said, I'd like to now turn it over to our first speaker, Dana Hoffman, to give you a brief introduction to the world of revenue management and dynamic pricing. The stage is yours, Dana.
Thank you, Celine. So, hi, everyone. I'm Dana, a senior product manager at Guesty. And over the past year, I've been working closely with our data scientists and development team to develop and launch Guesty Price Optimizer, also known as a GPO, our dynamic pricing tool. So it's a pleasure to be here, and we can start. So today's webinar is all about revenue management and dynamic pricing, and for a very good reason. When it comes to revenue management, the impact of the bottom line of your business is huge. Our data shows that property managers and hosts who do this right yield at least 30% higher revenue compared to those who do the bare minimum. So before we talk about how to do revenue management right, let's discuss on what exactly revenue management is. So a capable revenue management system gives you the tools to fine-tune your strategy, to optimize your pricing, and to outperform your business goals, starting with visibility to market data and the ability to set up pricing components to maximize revenue. So continue with bulk setup and automation to avoid mistake and save precious time, providing you with full support for channel restriction and cancellation policy to minimize your operational risk. So at Guesty, we like to think on revenue management as a pyramid, and the pyramid consists different layers of granularity, allowing you to decide how deep you want to dive into each layer. So let's take a look on the blue layer. Now, every property starts with the base price, and this serves as a bare minimum or as a starting point, and largely depends on the property itself, including factors such as room, amenities, locations, and more. The second layer, the green one, pertains to your rate strategy, and you have two options, or more accurately, approaches available for you. So the first option involves basing your revenue management strategy on a set of ad hoc rules that you can program. This approach grants you the ability to differentiate between season, weekdays versus weekends, and various of other factors. So essentially, it enables you to translate your goals and strategies into your property management system. The second approach to apply rate strategy is to use dynamic pricing tools such as Guesty Price Optimizer. And dynamic pricing is a fully automated tool that utilizes different metrics to determine the optimal price for you. It considers factors like market changes, competitors' pricing, and your inventory, incorporating this information into an algorithm specially designed to attract more guests and increase your revenue. The next layer, the yellow one, focus on your rate plans. And at this stage, you have the opportunity to offer various of options for the same listing. So flexible cancellation policy are currently more popular than ever and come into play during this stage. In addition, a meal plan, extra bed, and other amenities are also considered. This is where you can truly excel by catering to the unique and individual need of each of your guests. And on the top of the pyramid, we have the discounts, promotions, and coupon. These are like the secret weapons that can help you to generate additional revenue. So offering last-minute coupons or long-stay discount is an excellent strategy to fill a vacant bed on nights where your property might otherwise be empty. So again, especially considering that the growing popularity of late booking recently. So that's a rundown of revenue management. And today we're focusing on dynamic pricing, and we're introducing Guesty Price Optimizer. So Guesty Price Optimizer helps you to optimize your revenue every single day across all channels from one centralized platform. It provides you peace of mind, knowing that your pricing is constantly monitoring, up to date, and aligned with the market. All of this done automatically based on the data we feed into our algorithm. In addition, you can ensure that you're offering the most competitive rates to maximize occupancy. Your pricing strategy is built by taking market parameters into consideration. The main idea is to take the guesswork out of the pricing with a fully embedded solution that pushes optimized pricing to all your channels, helping you to grow your business.
Thank you so much, Dana, for those wonderful insights into the world of revenue management. I'm sure maybe many members of our audience were scribbling those quick wins down to implement. I'd now like to invite Jeff, our Price Optimizer Program Manager, to show and tell you guys about our amazing in-house dynamic pricing tool, Guesty Price Optimizer, that Dana just told you. So Jeff, please take it away.
Thank you, Celine. My name is Jeff Nishis. I am the Price Optimizer Program Manager, and I'm going to take you on a demo of GPO. So for Guesty for host users, the easiest way to get to Price Optimizer is you can hover over the blue diamond in the right-hand corner of your screen. There'll be a drop-down box that says Guesty Price Optimizer. You can click that to enter the landing page. If you're a Guesty for Pro user, you can get there via the Revenue Management tab or also via our add-on section as well. So I'll go through the Revenue Management section because that Price Optimizer is part of our suite of tools in there. And if I click on Price Optimizer, what we come to is a landing page. Now, this is what the landing page would look like once you opt in. Currently, we do have a 30-day free trial. And the requirements are you need to be connected to Airbnb via Guesty for 30 days, or sorry, for 7 days. And your listing needs to be in the United States. So focusing back on this landing page here for Price Optimizer, we have the listing card section. And this is what you can do on here. You can filter by your listings. So we can search by our listing nicknames. We can filter by our cities, tags, amenities, etc. And what we'll have is all the listings that are in your account, the ones that are currently active, meaning they're turned on, the ones that are not active, which this will be the default section. When you first opt in, your listings will not be turned on in Price Optimizer, and that will allow you to come in and adjust your settings as you see fit before you go live. And finally, you'll be able to see the ones that are not eligible. As I just mentioned, you need to be connected to Guesty via Airbnb. So the not eligible will give you a reason why. So for example, this listing is not active in Guesty. This listing is not connected to Airbnb. So let's go back to our not active one. So this will give you a quick preview of your listing card, the property nickname, a quick snapshot of your 30, 60, and 90-day occupancy, which is really handy. You can come in, take a quick glance, and see exactly how you're trending. And on the right, we'll give you your base price and your recommended price. These are going to be your strategy settings, which I'll dive into shortly. And lastly, this is where you can opt in or opt out for each individual listing for Price Optimizer. So let me expand this listing. And the first page we're going to come to is the pricing forecast page. Now, what you can do here, this is going to show your up-to-date pricing for your selected time frame. It's going to default to the 1-year view, but you can zoom in by 6 months, 1 week, etc. You can sort by specific dates and you can also zoom in and zoom out. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you get to this page is you're going to want to review your pricing. You can do that by viewing the trend lines at the bottom here. So in gray is going to be your current pricing. This would be the current pricing on your calendar that is synced with your OTA channels currently. The blue is going to be the recommended pricing from GPO. And in green, we'll give you a market pricing for listings in your market with similar characteristics. Now, the recommended pricing here is going to show for 12 months. And if you opt in, these are the prices that will push out to your calendar and your channels. So that's why our best practice is we want to come in here. We want to take a look at our prices first before we go live. So what we can do to do that is I can hover over one of these dates. And if I hover over a date, I will get a listing tooltip. And what this is going to do, it's going to show me the recommended price in blue that Price Optimizer would suggest and exactly how we're going to get there. And we're going to get there by splitting the base price with our dynamic factors. So your base price, as Dana mentioned earlier, can be considered your starting point. That is the starting point that the Price Optimizer is going to take into account before elevating your pricing up and down based on your dynamic factors, such as your day of the week, your holidays, your seasonality. So for example, for August 8th here, we have our base price, our starting point at $97, and we are raising by $10 due to the seasonality. But what I can also do, if I take a look maybe at the off season here, on November 16th, we have our base price of $97, and we're going to reduce it by the seasonality and the day of the week. Now, what I could do if I wanted to make any adjustments, I can click on this date, and this toolbar will come available. I can drag and adjust the pricing. I can double click inside of it. I can manually enter a price. I could click off of it or click enter to save it. And what will happen is it will turn purple. And purple is going to mean that is a manual adjustment. So if this was, maybe I wanted to edit this, I could also click on it again and reset it back to the recommended pricing. The second thing you'd want to do for best practices is on the year view, you would want to be able to set your minimum and maximum nightly rate. So this is only available on the year view. If you go to the 6-month view, you can see the minimum max pricing, but you cannot adjust it. So the maximum, obviously, if you're in a market that you're only allowed to rent up to certain dollars per night for your listing, you could set that here. And just like the manual adjustment for the nightly rate, I can drag this up and down. I can double click inside of it. But the most important one you're going to want to set is your minimum pricing. The minimum pricing is going to set your floor. So for example, right now, we have our floor set for this listing at $50 per night. This is the lowest dollar amount we're willing to sell one individual night for on this listing. So if I wanted to change this and maybe raise my floor due to operating costs, or if you have owners that only permit you to sell to a certain, go down to a certain figure, I can do the same thing. I can drag this up, I can double click inside. And again, just as I did the manual pricing for the individual night, you'll see the purple coming into play. That will cut off at your floor. So for example, on January 31st, GPO is going to recommend $65 a night, but because we have our floor set at $68, we're going to stop there. We're not going to go below that. So that purple again is going to signify a manual adjustment. The next section of GPO is your pricing strategy. Now, this is where you can actually set your base price. And again, your base price is going to be your starting point. So we have our graphs here. We can view the current pricing, the recommended, and our current base pricing. So we can come in here. I can easily adjust up or down off of the recommended base price that GPO is suggesting of $97 per night. We can go up or down 20%. Or perhaps if I want to split the difference, maybe I only want to go up 10%. I can check this toggle. I can manually enter in a dollar amount, and that will automatically adjust my base pricing. The second piece of the pricing strategy are the dynamic factors. Now, these, again, they're going to control your market trends, like the seasonality, the day of the week, your holidays. So it'll be set at average, which is our recommended. But essentially what you're going to do here is you can adjust the amplitude of the graph, where the base pricing is going to adjust the starting point. The dynamic strategies, the dynamic factors here are going to change the amplitude, the peaks and valleys of the graph. So the more aggressive we are, so we can adjust by up to 40% more impact. What that is going to do is going to tie your peak pricing and your low pricing together. They're going to adjust accordingly with 40% more impact. So the amplitude in this graph is going to change. We're going to get higher highs and lower lows. So an example of when you might want to use this could be if you have a listing that maybe you book every weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is consistently booked, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is not. What we're going to try to do, being more aggressive, is we're going to try to increase the revenue on the weekends and increase the occupancy by dropping the rate for the weekdays. Additionally, you can do the same thing in the opposite direction. The more conservative you get, and if you watch the blue graph here, the more conservative we are, the more linear these prices are going to stick. They're going to be closer to your base price. So for example, if maybe you have a 5-star listing, you don't have many issues booking it throughout the week. Maybe you get 4 or 5 night bookings consistently. What you can do is you can be a little bit more conservative on your dynamic factors and instead raise your starting point, the base price. And then finally, the last piece of GPO is our minimum night restrictions. And what we can do on here is this will define across all 12 months that Price Optimizer is pushing for the minimum night stay based on day of the week. So for example, on Monday night, we're going to allow 2 night stays, Tuesday, Wednesday, et cetera, same 2 night stays. But on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we want a 3-night stay. What we can also do is we can adjust the time-based rules. So if I add a time-based rule, that is going to add a season. So maybe right now we want to do a summer season. I can define the range. And across this range, I can say, maybe I want this to be a 4-night minimum across the season. Or just as we did above, I can apply maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we want this to match as a 3-night minimum. So you can define the individual days or the entire season in general. And then what you can do is we can keep this box checked and it will repeat that same season every year. So you're not have to consistently come in, recreate these manual seasonal adjustments. So if I add this rule, I can continue to add more and they'll start stacking. So essentially what that means, right now, for example, maybe I have a summer season that goes from today until September 1st. But perhaps you also have a Labor Day season. So maybe your Labor Day season starts on August 30th. If the two seasons overlap, GPO is going to take the most restrictive requirement. So if your summer season is a 3-night minimum, but your Labor Day requirement is a 4-night minimum, any days that overlap, it's going to push for the 4-night minimum. And that is it. That's a quick tour of GPO, and hope you enjoy.
See a lot of questions regarding the OTA and the channels, and I think it's important to mention the minute that you are opting a listing or make an adjustment and save those adjustments, it's automatically sync with the channels. And when I'm talking about channels, I mean it means that with Verbo, with Airbnb, with Booking.com, so we immediately sync all the changes and all the data automatically to the channels. So this is important to mention. In addition, I see small question about the base price. So the base price take into the consideration the amenities of the property itself, and it also consider the market. So we compare ourselves to the market, and we take the amenities also into consideration, and our algorithm generate recommended base price.
Thank you, Jeff, for that amazing demo. I'd now like to invite Jared from Teal Hosting to tell us all about his revenue management strategy, and how he can tell us from his experience how Guesty Price Optimizer fits into that picture. So Jared, the stage is yours.
Thanks so much, Celine. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. It's a great honor and a great privilege. And what a great demo by Jeff. That was awesome, man. Thanks so much for going through there and showing all the different features. All right, so my name is Jared Higginbotham. I'm the CEO and founder of Stay Teal Door. We are, there we go. We are a regional-based management company located here in Tampa Bay and down here in Florida. Right now we have about 50 units under management. And one of our biggest differentiators between our company and others is that we offer integrated services. So we are not just a booking marketing company. We also do maintenance and guest services or maintenance, housekeeping, and guest services for all of our homeowners that trust us with their properties. Being in this business since 2017, I've seen a whole lot, and GPO couldn't come at a better time. All right, so we're going to hop into my revenue management philosophy. We're going to keep it pretty short, but this is generally a high-level overview of revenue management as a philosophy, not the nitty-gritty, small, tiny details, but just the general overview. All right, so my revenue management philosophy, I look for heads and beds. My whole job is to maximize our occupancy in order to drive revenue. Right? If we do our job correctly and we maximize our occupancy by setting our optimal prices at the right time, we're going to be able to achieve our long-term success through that pricing strategy, meaning I'm going to be booked up in advance. I'm not waiting on last-minute bookings to fill my calendar. And then one of the core tenets of our philosophy here is that we integrate our revenue management, which is my sole job here at this company. I'm the only one that touches it. And we integrate it with our marketing team. By having the two hands working alongside each other, it's going to make sure that we align our pricing strategy with Airbnb's really crazy algorithm. This really helps us because it enhances our marketing and our visibility. Right? If I'm not showing up in Airbnb's algorithm at the top of the page, it's because something in my pricing strategy or maybe something with my listing itself is wrong. So by taking this approach where we combine revenue management and marketing teams together, it lets us see the total picture, and then we can make our adjustments on the fly as long as we're doing our jobs correctly. The net result is you're going to increase your occupancy rates if you are priced correctly. And that's the whole goal here, is to make sure that our occupancy is high. I have plenty of homeowners that look at their owners portals that we provide them with Guesty. And when they see green months into advance, they feel confident. And then they feel like I'm doing a great job. So that's what I want to do. I don't want my calendars to be empty and then just pick up last minute bookings, which ultimately fill up a calendar. But why did I do that? Is it because I dropped my nightly rates so much that of course it gets booked? Or did I set my prices correctly? And now as the tomorrow gets closer to today, I don't have to drop my prices. Maybe I'm leaving too much revenue on the table because I didn't think too far into the future and set my prices correctly. So this will help your homeowners feel really comfortable about the revenue that's coming in, and you won't think that the sky is falling either, right? You'll have confidence if you do it this way. And then next we have monitoring KPIs. And what I do here is I track occupancy and my RevPal. Those are the three main KPIs that I'm going to track, and it's going to tell me if I'm doing my revenue management strategy correctly or not, right? So I'm going to track that occupancy percentage here in my market. I think there was a question about this, is like how much occupancy should we see? It's really market dependent. So I live in an urban core environment with a big city, and I've got a big giant vacation or beach vacation area that I service as well. Well, my occupancy in my urban core should be about 50% occupancy from now to the next 30 days. And then from 30 to 60 days out, I'm looking for 30% occupancy. And then from 60 to 90, I'm hoping, if I'm doing really good, I'm doing about 25% occupancy from 60 to 90. And so I will track that every single day, and I will make adjustments on the fly. I do this because I'm able to balance my agility here and shift gears if I have to. I don't want to be making drastic changes on one day and overreact because I wasn't tracking this. So this is part of the core process here. We're just going to try and remain agile in response to market changes. I'm sure everyone has felt the changes that happened when Airbnb released their summer release, right? They shook things up quite a bit. And if you are agile because you are doing this every single day, maybe that wouldn't have been such of a stressful event. But if you don't touch pricing and you don't touch your revenue strategy very often, then you probably are going to have some hard times. So we're going to combine our due diligence in taking a look and tracking these KPIs, and we're going to combine that with our flexibility or our agility, and that's what's going to help us be successful in the long term. And then tailoring revenue strategies to market dynamics. All right, so nobody understands your market like you do. You're in your market. Real estate is and will always be a local thing, right? Nobody's going to understand it quite like you will. So what we do is we adapt our pricing strategies accordingly, right? If I know that I'm not in my peak season, well, I'm not going to be charging the highest prices, obviously, in my peak season, but you're the only one that's going to know that. You can use tools like GPO to help you figure out when your seasons are if you're not familiar, and you can use it as a guiding star, but at the end of the day, it's just a tool, and you have to know this, and this will be part of your revenue management strategy. You will plan for these events, right? So we'll optimize our revenue in diverse market conditions. For instance, this is a diverse market condition here in Tampa right now, where in the last 60 days, we've lost over 1,200 listings in my local market. Well, what does that do? Should my prices stay the same now that supply has dropped significantly? Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't drop my prices as much as I thought I was going to. Maybe I leave them high. But if you look at these numbers every day, you'll know that these changes are happening, and you can be agile and you can optimize your revenue even in the most diverse market conditions. And then how does GPO drive success for us? Well, I really, really like this point. This is the first time I've been using Guesty since 2017. And this is the first time I haven't had to leave Guesty to go and look at my price optimizing tools. I've used other price optimizing tools. I've gone through periods where I didn't use price optimizing tools at all, and I manually adjusted these prices every single day. But this is a great option. It's built in right into the revenue management section, which is a place I've already been using, and I've already been working on my own manual rate strategies, my own rate plans, and Price Optimizer really ties them all in together. And it's very convenient to not have to leave Guesty in order to see this actionable information. Historically, I would go to AirDNA. Historically, I would go to the other pricing tools like Wheelhouse and look at the information that they have. I no longer have to do it. It streamlines this process for me, and I can do it all in-house. That's why I really like the native implementation of this. It's not an integration. You're not connecting APIs. You're not managing that. This makes it so much easier, and I really love that aspect of it. So for integration, you're never leaving Guesty, and I love it. The ease of use here, implementing my strategies. How can I get it right? So if I look at my occupancy percentages and I see that maybe I'm not booked at those numbers that I threw out earlier, that 50% from today until 30 days. Well, how can I get there with the fewest clicks possible? I've got a couple different options. If I was set for 175 as my recommended, and I noticed that my occupancy isn't exactly where I need it to be, well, I can either take a drastic approach and just take 20% right off the top, or maybe I want to use that set fixed base price. Instead of going from 175 to 140, maybe I only want to drop it a little bit to see if maybe that gives me some more traction in the Airbnb algorithm. So I'll set a fixed price or set a fixed base price to maybe 170, and we'll see how that goes. So ease of use, love it. This is a game changer because you can see the prices for the entire year as soon as you make those switches. So you can, and before you implement them too, you can click around and discover and see how that price is going to change before you actually implement that. And I really, really like that feature. It gives me confidence in my ability to manage these prices. And again, it's built right in, and I don't have to leave Guesty. The changes are implemented immediately. I don't have to worry about it not syncing correctly, things like that. You don't have to be a data scientist or an engineer to put all this together. You can focus on doing what you're good at, which hopefully is revenue management. And then functionality. No, Jeff didn't go into it quite as bit, but this is an example of one of my listings here. You can see I've got Christmas, New Year's. I've got a special holiday here in Tampa called Gasparilla. You can set these time-based rules or these rule sets inside of the listing itself, inside the GPO. And I like having all of this in one spot. Previously in other Guesty pricing tools that they had, I would have to build some of these in different areas and then go back to this other area to change this. But now it's all in one spot. And you don't have to think about this as, I just want 3-day stays for Christmas, right? Because I don't have housekeeping and things like that on Christmas Day. Instead, you can use this to shape your risk management. So for instance, Gasparilla, I'm not sure if everyone's ever heard of or been to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, but that is essentially Tampa's version of Mardi Gras. And when it happens every single year, I get unruly guests. I get people that disrespect our properties. They don't take care of them, things like that. So maybe I don't want to particularly rent to people that are going to Gasparilla, but I do want to still get booked. What I can do is I can change my minimum nights here from just 1 night or 2 nights on the weekend, because this happens every third Saturday of every January. Maybe I want to set it to a 3-day minimum just to make sure that I get somebody to book this who's coming to Tampa for something else, and Gasparilla is just happening when they're coming as well. So this will help me zero in on the guests that I want and mitigate risk, all from the GPO. And it's really a nice way to go about it, because it's all in the same spot. It's super convenient. This is a time saver for me. And so this is how we would implement that. And then next, the pricing. Having an instant visual feedback like this, I'm pretty sure there are other pricing tools that are out there that will give you something to look at, but having the ability to see, hey, my old pricing strategy that I was using, how does that line up to what Guesty's offering and or what Guesty's recommending here? Did I potentially leave on the table last year? Did I actually raise my prices as much as they should have been? Right? Or am I right on track? I mean, this is pretty common for me to see in my market where the green market line is above what I'm selling it for. And what you can mostly think about that is that in my current condition, in my current market conditions, I've got homeowners who purchased homes in the last 2 years that can't afford to stay in these homes. They have to rent their homes for a higher nightly rate. And that's my market advantage, right? That's where I'm closing these other short-term rental operators down, because I have margins and I can lower my prices and I can track them. So I don't think there are any other tools that give you this market price. I think that's a good competitive edge for Guesty to show you that market price on top of what you are offering through your GPO and through your strategy. Let's see. Any other questions? I think that's it. That's my revenue philosophy in a nutshell, and that's kind of how I implemented Guesty with our system and our strategy.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. Let's kick off our panel discussion now. Maybe one for Dana, since it's related to GPO. What are some of the limitations that can come with solely relying on the dynamic pricing tool, and how can they be overcome? Dana, if you have a few words on that. Yes.
Okay, so I think that dynamic pricing tool were designed to work with property manager rather than replacing them. And as a property manager, you know your business better than anyone. So it's important to be involved and ensure that you set the right strategy, take into account the min-max boundaries, and validate the outcome of the pricing engine. The dynamic pricing tool provides you with visibility into hidden information about your market and competitors, and it saves precious time by suggestion nightly rate. However, in the end of the day, you are the revenue manager. And it's important to not just to 100% rely on the suggestion, but also be involved and make sure that you feel good enough with our recommendations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If my competitors are using Guesty's price optimizer, or any price optimizer for that matter, how will that impact my rates?
Okay, I can take this one as well. So you cannot use both tools for the same listing. If you're going to use this both, for example, Wheelhouse and Price Optimizer, you're going to overlap the prices for each other. So it's not possible. It is possible to work for the same account and for different listing with different tool. But for the same listing, we should work with only one tool.
Okay. And I know we've had a lot of questions regarding the data, so maybe we'll address this one as well. What data does Guesty rely on for its pricing optimization model?
Yeah, I saw this one, and I saw also referring to competitors. So all pricing tools in the STR market use the same principle, and we process and the same data. So we process millions of data points on a daily basis. And from this data, we identify specific property profile and understand the pricing patterns of their specific market. This understanding leads to the pricing suggestion that incorporate dynamic factors such as competition, demand, seasonality, and other market events. In addition, advanced pricing engine, including price optimizer, including GPO, takes into account your interaction with the suggested prices. So if you make an adjustment to your pricing strategy or you do a manual change, the algorithm take them into consideration.
Got it. Thank you. Just to confirm, and I've seen this question pop up as well. Jeff, maybe if you could answer, since you have the experience in using GPO extensively, can property managers adjust their rates and nightly minimum nights as well on the multi-calendar?
No, that's a good question. So anything that's in Price Optimizer, so rates and minimum night stays, they need to be adjusted in Price Optimizer. So the logic will flow from GPO to your multi-calendar to the OTAs. So if you are making some adjustments on the multi-calendar while using GPO, GPO will override them. Same thing. Yeah. So
that's good.
Do it in GPO.
That's good to know. And following up on that, what occupancy rates should we be aiming for?
Yeah, I think Jared gave a really good answer there. It's going to change based on your market. And really what I tell users that I meet with, the sweet spot that you're looking to book is about 14 to 40 days out. As Jared mentioned, if you're booking too far in advance and you have, you're at 30, 40, 50%, 90 days out, odds are you can come into GPO, you can make some adjustments to increase your pricing. So ideally, the booking window for most markets is 14 to 40 days.
Okay. I agree that Jared gave some really, really cool advices. Speaking of that, maybe Jared, if you could recommend some other strategies, when it comes to integrating dynamic pricing and revenue management strategies with other marketing and sales tactics, for example, then how can we create a comprehensive approach to make sure that we maximize